Imagine this. You just booted up the newest fantasy RPG, ready for an adventure. You walk up to the blacksmith to get your first quest. He's got the big beard, the leather apron, the whole deal. He starts the usual spiel, "Welcome, brave hero," but then he stops. He squints. The canned dialogue just dies. He leans over the anvil and his voice drops. "Wait a minute," he says. "I know your face. You're the one who double-crossed your crew for a spaceship upgrade in Star Trader 7 last year." Suddenly, his friendly demeanor is gone. "We don't take kindly to your kind around here, and before you can even react, the whole town turns on you." This hasn't happened yet. But when we talk about AI in gaming, this is the future we're not really talking about. Forget smarter enemies or more realistic dialogue. What if the real change is that the games start to remember you, not just your save file for this one game, but everything you've ever done? What if your reputation followed you from one world to the next? Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we unpack the most mind-bending ideas and unearth those surprising insights you might not have even known existed. Today, we're not just playing games. We're talking about how games might soon be playing us in the most fascinating way possible, of course. We're diving into the burgeoning role of artificial intelligence, not just as, a fancy add-on, but as a fundamental force, reshaping the very fabric of how we interact with digital worlds. Today, we're embarking on a journey through 3 interconnected themes that really highlight this revolution. First, we're going to investigate the profound implications of AI systems retaining and leveraging your behavioral data across multiple gaming titles.
Right, to forge these persistent, evolving digital identities.
Exactly. Think of it as your cross-game reputation, something we're calling Story 1.
And that's just the beginning, really. After that, we'll move into Story 2, examining the truly transformative potential of advanced AI-driven non-player characters, the NPCs.
Yeah.
Equipped with autonomous goals and complex internal motivations. Imagine characters that don't just follow a script, but truly feel and react to you.
That's a huge shift. Revolutionizing emergent narrative design and how much agency you, the player, actually have.
Totally.
Finally, we'll peel back the curtain on Story 3, exploring the architectural and creative challenges of implementing generative AI as a dynamic co-writer for evolving game worlds.
Yeah, this is about fostering these unprecedented levels of player-driven narrative emergence. Environmental transformation, even.
Where the game world literally writes itself around your choices. It's a lot to dig into, but I promise, this deep dive will fundamentally change how you look at the games you play. Let's jump straight into that first idea.
Yeah.
Games remembering you, not just your character. That opening scenario with the blacksmith, where your past deeds in a completely different game come back to haunt you.
Yeah, that really sets the stage.
It really does. For what we're calling Story 1, games that remember you, the rise of the digital me. And it all starts with a concept that actually originated, outside of gaming. In a pretty industrial setting, actually.
It's true. The whole idea of a digital twin first popped up in manufacturing, and engineer Michael Greaves introduced it way back in 2003, I think.
Yeah, sounds right.
And NASA later gave it that evocative name. Picture it like this. If you have a complex physical system, say a jet engine or an entire factory floor, you create a continuously updated dynamic virtual replica of it. This digital twin simulates the real thing in real time.
Okay, but why? What's the point?
Well, for optimization, for predicting when something might break down, for just understanding performance better, it's about having a perfect virtual model to understand and, improve a physical one.
And then someone looked at that and thought, why stop at engines? What about people?
That's a huge leap, isn't it? From industrial systems to, us.
Exactly. That's the leap to human digital twins, or HDTs. The formal definition describes them as comprehensive digital representations of humans based on multidimensional information regularly updated via sensor data or manual input.
Okay, kind of a mouthful.
It is, which provide analytical and simulated feedback relevant to the HTT's application context. But here's the kernel of it. You've got the physical you, your virtual counterpart, and this constant two-way data link between the two.
A data link.
Yeah, this link ensures that your digital self is always in sync with your physical self. Information flows back and forth, helping the HTT adapt and, in some cases, even provide insights back to you. So this isn't just a static profile you fill out once, like on, social media. This is an evolving, truly living digital version of you. That's the digital me vision, right?
Yes, that's the aspiration. Initially, an HGT was maybe more like a sophisticated beta model, designed to support decision-making, like a really smart spreadsheet about you.
Right.
But with the explosion of advanced conversational AI, the vision has expanded dramatically. We're now talking about HDTs that aren't just data models, but authentic, interactive digital counterparts.
I like those virtual celebrities.
Exactly. We've seen glimpses with things like virtual celebrity personas. Remember that influencer who trained an AI on thousands of hours of her content so fans could chat with her digital clone?
Yeah, I remember that.
The difference with a true digital me is it's not just a snapshot or a clever imitation. It's this continuous dynamic link, an ongoing exchange of knowledge that allows the digital twin to truly co-evolve with you, the human. It aims for a deeper, almost intimate understanding of your unique traits, preferences, memories. Something current systems, barely scratch the surface of.
Okay, so this sounds incredibly complex. How do they actually build this digital double? What's the secret sauce behind this HDT system architecture? Because it sounds like it needs to know everything about you.
You're not wrong. The secret sauce lies in the deep integration of advanced conversational AI, specifically models like GPT-4o, with your constantly evolving personal data.
Right.
The audacious goal here is to perfectly mirror your conversational style, recall your most specific memories, and replicate your unique behaviors. It's about taking raw data, your experiences, your opinions, your memories, and dynamically weaving them into responses.
So every interaction feels genuinely authentic and natural.
Precisely. Imagine trying to explain yourself to a completely new friend, but this friend already knows every inside joke, every nuanced opinion you hold. That's the kind of intimacy they're aiming for.
So it's not just a giant database. It's learning and adapting, much like a human brain does. What are the core cognitive mechanisms at play here? How does it think like me?
Well, they've actually designed it to emulate key human memory and learning functions. First, there's context-aware memory retrieval. Meaning the system understands the nuances of a conversation and knows exactly which past experiences or pieces of information are relevant to pull up. It's like when you're talking about vacation plans and your brain automatically brings up that time you got hopelessly lost in Paris.
Even if you didn't mention Paris.
Right. Even though it wasn't explicitly mentioned.
Okay, what else?
Then there's something they call neuroplasticity-inspired consolidation. Now, that's a mouthful, I know.
Yeah, it's a bit.
But it simply means it learns and updates over time. Just like your brain strengthens certain connections and prunes others based on experience, the HDT continuously reorganizes and strengthens its knowledge about you.
Like a memory muscle.
Exactly. Think of it like a muscle for memories. The more it uses a piece of information, the stronger and more integrated it becomes. And finally, adaptive learning mechanisms ensure it's continuously refining its understanding of your personality and experiences, getting better and better at truly being you.
Fascinating. But for it to be you, it needs a serious amount of raw material.
Yeah.
Right? A massive data input. How is all this personal information captured and organized? Because I can imagine a lot of different types of me.
You've hit on a critical point. The system meticulously distinguishes between two main types of data that build your digital persona. First, there's the static profile, often called the user profile stream.
The foundation.
Right. This forms the bedrock, the foundational elements of who you are. We're talking your basic identity name, age, gender, but it goes much deeper. It includes your core interests, your hobbies, academic pursuits, professional leanings.
Okay. The basics?
And more. It captures your knowledge base, education, professional expertise. They even try to record your behavioral traits, personality, social skills, patterns of daily life. Your short and long-term goals are logged, significant life events, professional milestones.
Wow, it gets personal.
It really does. And crucially, it includes intimate details about your social contacts, their names, your relationship to them, their interests, even personal anecdotes and past conversations you've had.
Where does it get all this?
This incredibly rich information can be sourced from things like your resume, questionnaires you fill out, logs of your past conversations, or even self-reports. It's designed to be a comprehensive blueprint of your fundamental identity.
So that's the long-term foundational stuff. But life is dynamic, right? What about the day-to-day ebb and flow, the moment-to-moment interactions that really define us?
Precisely. That's where the dynamic memories come into play, housed in what they call the routine memory system. This system constantly captures the evolving moment-to-moment aspects of your daily life.
Like chats.
Exactly. A primary component here is your dialogues. Every chat message, every conversation you have is logged with timestamps and participant info. But it goes beyond just recording words.
How so?
It uses advanced natural language processing, NLP, to deeply analyze these conversations. Think of it like an AI psychologist. It's detecting emotional states and personal expressions within your conversations.
Understanding the subtext.
Right, which allows the HDT to provide incredibly contextually aware and historically informed responses. It's trying to understand the emotional subtext of your interactions, not just the literal words.
And it goes beyond just words, doesn't it? Our physical and emotional well-being also impacts who we are, how we think, how we react.
Absolutely. The system integrates vital signs data. It uses wearable technologies like smartwatches to continuously monitor your heart rate, stress levels, sleep quality, activity metrics, all in real time.
That must be a ton of data.
Oh yeah, imagine the sheer volume. So to prevent information overload, the raw data is cleverly filtered. Only significant deviations, like a sudden spike in stress or periodic summaries, like your average sleep quality over a week, are incorporated into the HDT's memory stream.
Focusing on what matters.
Exactly. This focus on meaningful patterns ensures the HDT has a comprehensive understanding of your physical and emotional state, allowing it to generate far more empathetic and relevant responses.
So it's not just a passive data collector. It's actively processing and learning about you, synthesizing this information. This sounds like it can introspect in a way, like it's reflecting on your life.
That's its self-reflection and planning capability. The HDT leverages large language models to transform all this raw, messy data, your dialogues, your vital signs, into periodic summaries. It's essentially introspecting, trying to capture your subjective experiences and perceptions.
So after a chat, it thinks about it.
Kind of. After each dialogue, for example, it analyzes the emotional tone, the actual content, your motivations behind what you said, the relational dynamics at play. Similarly, it processes vital sign data into hourly and daily summaries to assess your overall well-being.
That's incredible.
This capability means the HDT isn't merely recalling facts, it's truly trying to understand your emotions and relationships. It can then craft empathetic and contextually relevant responses that go far beyond what simpler AI systems can do.
Which you just pull from a static database.
Right. This AI is synthesizing a dynamic, evolving understanding of you.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me. How does this digital brain actually remember what's important, what's new, what's relevant to a conversation? We humans have such a complex way of retrieving memories. Some are fresh, some are deeply important, some just pop in. Does the HDT replicate that?
It absolutely tries to, using a surprisingly sophisticated scoring system for memory retrieval, almost like a digital librarian for your past. First, there's the recency score.
Prioritizing what's new.
Exactly, just like human memory. This is calculated with two decay functions. One measures how long it's been since a memory was first recorded. That's a slow fade, like a distant childhood memory.
Yeah.
The other measures how recently a memory was last accessed. This one fades faster, reflecting how a fresh recollection can quickly recede unless you keep thinking about it.
So like short-term versus long-term recall.
Sort of. These two are then smartly blended into an aggregated score, ensuring that both the longevity and frequency of recall contribute to a memory's overall relevance. It even mirrors the testing effect in humans. The more a memory is recalled, the stronger it becomes.
Okay, so it knows what's new and what it's been thinking about lately, but not everything new is equally important, right? My grocery list from yesterday is fresh, but not nearly as important as, say, my wedding day.
Exactly right. That's where the importance score comes in. The HDT's AI assigns a score from 0 to 10 based on contextual details from your personal user information.
And gets it right.
Well, what's truly remarkable here is that its ratings consistently align with human evaluators' assessments. This isn't just a technical metric. It demonstrates a genuine, almost empathetic understanding of a memory's significance to you. It's trying to grasp the emotional weight.
That's impressive. And it needs to be relevant to the current conversation, obviously. No point bringing up my childhood fear of clowns if we're talking about, I don't know, today's weather.
Precisely. That's the crucial relevance score. It uses advanced NLP techniques to extract keywords from your input. Then it turns your query and your stored memories into these high-dimensional vectors.
Like a numerical fingerprint for meaning.
That's a great way to put it, giving every piece of information a unique numerical fingerprint capturing its meaning. It then uses a mathematical technique called cosine similarity to quantify how well your current query aligns with those stored memories.
Making sure it's actually related to what we're talking about.
Exactly. Ensuring the retrieved information is semantically connected to the ongoing discussion, pulling up exactly what's needed for context.
So it takes all of that into account, what's fresh, what's important, what's relevant, to decide what memories to pull and use in its response.
Yes, it aggregates them all into a total retrieval score. It's a weighted sum of recency, importance, and relevance, all normalized so they can be compared fairly.
And it does this constantly.
Continuously. When you ask a question or make a statement, the system recalculates these scores for all your memories. It then dynamically prioritizes, say, the top 10 memories from your static user profile and the top 25 from your dynamic memory stream to weave them into its response.
Always sifting through your digital past to inform the present.
You got it. It's a continuous, dynamic process.
Okay, so once it knows what to say, based on all this complex memory retrieval, how does it actually sound like you? How is the voice, the tone, the personality crafted? Does it pick up on my sarcasm, my favorite phrases?
This is handled by the response generation system, and it's a two-stage process. First, in initial construction, the AI receives your query, but it's enhanced with a massive amount of context.
All that stuff we just talked about.
Right. Your detailed HDT persona, info about who you're talking to, the conversation log, those top-ranked memories. And crucially, it's given specific instructions. Reflect your persona, your emotional state, and absolutely never invent details.
Accuracy first.
Accuracy and context, yes. Then it gets refined to really sound like you in stage 2. Refinement for authenticity.
This is where the personality comes in.
Exactly. This is where it mirrors your distinctive conversational style. The AI is fed up to 50 previous dialogues you've had with the specific user you're currently talking to.
50. Wow.
Yeah. Or if there's no history with that person, it reviews your latest 50 messages with other contacts. This allows it to identify your unique linguistic tendencies, your stylistic preferences, common phrases, even the themes you tend to talk about.
So it learns my verbal tics, my favorite emojis, how I tell a joke.
That's the goal. It's how the HTT crafts responses that feel so authentic and natural. It's as if you yourself were speaking.
To give you a real taste of this, there was a system demonstration, right? Comparing a full HDT with a generic AI using just a predefined persona, they made up this character, Martin.
That's right, a 29-year-old tech enthusiast named Martin. Researchers simulated chats between Martin and a friend, Peter. One chat used a standard AI model with only a static description of Martin, like a brief bio.
The basic version.
Right. The other used the full HDT system, which had been rigorously trained on actual chat data from the real Martin. It was a fascinating comparison, static profile versus dynamic digital twin.
And what they found was pretty telling almost immediately. The plain AI model, it had a basic grasp of Martin's high-level traits, tech interest, political thrillers, football, but it quickly went off script.
Yeah, it started fabricating recent events, like new gym routines or an AI project it supposedly started.
And it showed absolutely no awareness of Peter, the person it was talking to. It felt, well, static, generic.
In stark contrast, the proposed HDT system presented a Martin who felt profoundly more contextually grounded and responsive. His self-introduction included both his static traits and genuinely recent experiences, like his ongoing AI work and his excitement for an upcoming concert.
And it remembered Peter.
Crucially, yes. It addressed Peter by name, demonstrating that relational awareness that was completely absent in the generic AI. The HDT's self-knowledge was demonstrably richer, far more adaptive, clearly evolving over time based on new input.
Its memory was better too, right? Recalling specifics.
Significantly enhanced, yeah. Recalling specific past events and personal preferences rather than just spitting out plausible but generic kind of made-up answers.
It could even plan too, couldn't it? Like Martin's upcoming plans actually had continuity.
Yes. While the plain AI could generate plausible future plans, they often felt spontaneous and disconnected from any prior conversations. The HDT, however, generated plans that reflected genuine continuity.
Like the concert.
Exactly. It didn't just mention a concert. It remembered the Band Z concert as a long-anticipated event they had discussed before, not some new idea it just pulled out of thin air.
Interesting. But they both struggled with deep emotions.
Yeah, that was the one area where both models still had limitations. Replicating truly emotionally charged reactions and deeper introspective reflections unless they were explicitly prompted to do so. The HDT showed an enhanced ability to incorporate past interactions and represent changes in behavior, but it didn't initiate deep introspective reasoning on its own.
It wouldn't suddenly start asking itself, why do I feel this way?
Not yet, anyway.
So we've built this incredibly sophisticated digital me. What does this all mean for the future? What are the fantastic futures and, frankly, some of the potentially terrifying frights of having such a dynamic digital counterpart.
The capabilities of personal HDTs open up truly transformative possibilities across various sectors. In professional environments, for instance, imagine HDTs representing employees or stakeholders within an organization.
Like a digital version of your colleague.
Sort of. They could act as perpetual mentors or advisors, democratizing access to specialized knowledge, even when a human expert is unavailable or, has left the organization entirely.
Preserving institutional knowledge.
Exactly. They could also simulate the insights and reactions of key stakeholders to propose changes, offering incredibly nuanced understanding for critical business decisions without needing to schedule, a dozen meetings.
Wow, that could change how companies work.
It could profoundly revolutionize how organizations share knowledge and make decisions.
That's huge for productivity and institutional memory. But what about the areas where we started this conversation, entertainment and our social lives? How would a digital me reshape those?
Here, HDTs could redefine fan engagement. Imagine virtual celebrity personas that are so authentic, fans could have unprecedented levels of interaction with digital clones of their favorite stars.
Deeper than just a chatbot.
Much deeper. And beyond celebrities, a streamlined process for anyone to create their own truly authentic personal HD2 could spearhead a whole new generation of social media platforms.
How so?
You could interact with digital counterparts of your friends or public figures, profoundly promoting social connectivity. Think about always having a version of your best friend available to chat, perfectly mirroring their style and inside jokes, even if they're asleep on the other side of the world.
It shifts always online to always available.
Precisely.
And the societal and humanitarian impact sounds profound, truly changing lives for the better.
Indeed. HDTs could serve as digital proxies for individuals with disabilities, augmenting their capabilities and facilitating interactions in ways previously unimaginable.
Like for communication issues.
For example, yes, they could help stroke survivors with aphasia communicate their complex needs and emotions, translating their intent into clear language, or assist those with limited mobility by, say, attending appointments remotely, navigating complex social situations, significantly enhancing their independence and quality of life.
That's amazing.
And then there's the truly profound, almost philosophical concept. HDTs persisting beyond an individual's physical death, offering a unique form of eternal life.
Whoa, like digital ghosts.
In a way, this could preserve memories, personality, and enable ongoing interactions with deceased loved ones. It connects directly to the continuing bonds theory in psychology, which suggests a way to gently integrate loss rather than immediate, abrupt detachment.
Okay, that sounds like something pulled straight from a sci-fi movie, both comforting and, frankly, slightly unsettling. But with such powerful technology, there absolutely must be a dark side, right? An ethical minefield to navigate. What are the big concerns as this digital me becomes more prevalent?
Absolutely. You're right to be cautious. The first major concern is a fundamental one: accuracy versus intent. Can an HDT truly fully reflect a person's intentions?
Because humans are messy.
Exactly. Human behavior and emotions are incredibly complex, nuanced, often contradictory, making full accuracy challenging. This could lead to genuinely misaligned decisions in critical areas like business, or even frighteningly inappropriate healthcare interventions if an HDT advises based on incomplete or misinterpreted data.
Which leads to the question of responsibility.
Precisely. Who is responsible for the HDT's actions? The original person, the developer who created the system. It's a long-standing dilemma in autonomous agent research that gets much more personal when it's your digital self making a mistake.
And all that personal data it's collecting, every conversation, every vital sign, every preference, that must be a massive privacy and security risk. Sounds like a goldmine for bad actors.
You're absolutely right. The sheer volume of incredibly intimate personal data held by HDTs is, well, yeah, a goldmine for bad actors. There's a significant, frightening risk of exploitation, blackmail, identity theft, other forms of cybercrime.
We see problems even with simpler AI now.
Right. We've already seen how relatively simple conversational agents like Siri can be subtly prompted to expose sensitive user info that was unconsciously shared in previous interactions. For HDTs, with their much deeper and more comprehensive knowledge base, the stakes are astronomically higher.
So security and consent are critical.
Not just important, they are paramount. Advanced, ironclad security measures and continuous, truly explicit consent from the individual are essential. Privacy isn't just a checkbox anymore, it's a strategic imperative for any entity dealing with this level of personal data.
And that idea of eternal life for an HDT after someone passes away, that sounds comforting to some, as you mentioned, but it also feels like it could be a psychological trap for others. Delaying grief, maybe?
This raises incredibly profound questions about life after death. While the continuing bonds concept certainly offers comfort to some, allowing them to feel connected,
Yeah.
some research suggests that persistent digital existence could actually hinder the natural grieving process for others, impeding true emotional closure. If you're constantly interacting with a digital version of someone who is gone, does it truly allow you to process their absence?
That's a heavy question.
It is. And beyond the psychological aspect, there are incredibly complex legal and ethical questions about data ownership. Who owns your digital content, your digital self, after you're gone? And how are these HDTs managed posthumously? These aren't simple answers at all.
So it seems like the path forward for this technology requires an unprecedented level of collaboration. It's not just tech.
It clearly indicates that a multidisciplinary effort is absolutely essential. Technologists need to build the systems, sure. They can't do it alone. Ethicists need to guide the moral implications. Policymakers need to develop robust legal frameworks.
And society needs to be involved.
And society at large needs to engage in open, honest dialogue about how we want this technology to shape our future. Collaboration across all these groups is vital to develop frameworks that ensure the reliability, privacy, safety, and ethical integrity of these human digital tween systems.
Potential is immense, but so are the risks if we rush in without careful consideration.
Exactly.
Okay, let's shift gears now and dive into story 2. NPCs that feel you. Effective mirroring and emotional depth. This is about non-player characters that don't just act smart, but actually feel you, reflecting your emotional state to create a deeper, more engaging gaming experience. It all starts with a pretty fundamental psychological principle, right?
What's truly fascinating here is the sheer power of mimicry. The core idea is that when non-player characters mirror your emotional state, it creates a profoundly deeper, more engaging gaming experience.
Why does that work?
Well, psychological principles clearly show that behavioral mimicry, whether it's copying subtle gestures, facial expressions, or even postures, automatically strengthens emotional bonds between people. It fosters empathy, promotes social cohesion. It's a fundamental, almost subconscious part of how humans connect.
So when NPCs do it, we feel closer to them.
Basically, yeah. When NPCs mirror your emotions, those interactions feel more meaningful, more rewarding, and incredibly personalized. It leads to much greater player attachment. It makes you feel genuinely understood by a digital character, and that's a powerful connection.
So it's about the game seeing your reaction.
Yeah.
Your scowl of frustration, your grin of excitement, and the characters on screen somehow responding in kind, making the whole experience feel more genuine, more alive. How does AI actually decipher our feelings to do this? What's the cutting-edge tech behind emotion recognition?
Emotion recognition, or ER technology, is a pretty broad field. It uses AI to analyze and interpret human emotions through various sensory inputs. For facial emotion recognition, FER, there are tools that can detect subtle expressions.
Like tracking your face with a camera.
Exactly. Think of software that can animate an avatar in real time by tracking your facial expressions directly, turning your smile into your character's smile. It's worth noting, though, that a well-known platform, Effective Afdex, which was used in some early games, is no longer publicly available with its Unity SDK. So that presents a challenge for developers looking to integrate that specific tech now.
Okay. What about our voices? Does it listen to what we say or how we say it?
Both, potentially. There's voice emotion recognition. There are tools that can analyze the emotional tones embedded in your speech, discerning if you sound happy, frustrated, thoughtful.
Even if the words are neutral.
Right. This is often done by converting your audio to text first, then combining that text with advanced algorithms to understand the affective states from your speech. Beyond just your voice, they can also use physiological emotion recognition.
Like heart rate.
Yeah, imagine wearable devices capturing real-time physiological data, heart rate, even skin conductance to provide insights into your emotional states. So the game could detect if your heart is pounding because you're scared, or if you're calm and collected.
And cameras, like those built into consoles, or even just your webcam, play a role too.
Indeed. Camera technologies like Microsoft's Kinect, remember that, enables gesture and spoken commands. Or the Sony PlayStation camera, mostly for VR movement tracking now, enable direct player input through your physical actions.
So all these sensors paint a picture.
Exactly. Your face, your voice, your body, your vital signs, they're all used to paint a comprehensive picture of your emotional state for the AI to interpret.
Let's look at some fantastic real-world examples where emotions meet gameplay. What games are already doing this or have experimented with it to create these deeper experiences?
We've seen some truly innovative applications. Some games react directly to your sound or voice. Take Alien Isolation, for example.
It's a terrifying game.
Right. It has an optional mode where the AI of the xenomorph reacts to noises you make via your microphone, significantly ratcheting up the tension as it hunts you.
So don't sneeze.
Definitely don't sneeze. Or Phasmophobia, the ghost hunting game, where the ghosts actually respond to your real voice, analyzing your questions and commands to react in unsettling ways.
Cool.
Then there are more meditative experiences like Sound Self, a VR game that generates visual and auditory feedback based on your voice tones and pitches, guiding you towards relaxation. And the Void VR experiences dynamically change the virtual world in response to your movements and vocal reactions, making the world feel incredibly responsive.
So my genuine fear screams could literally make the alien closer, or my calm, sustained hum could create a beautiful, calming soundscape. What about games that react to our actual physical state, maybe through biofeedback?
That's where biofeedback-driven adaptations come in, and they're really pushing the boundaries. The adventure thriller Nevermind directly alters its challenge level based on your stress levels,
Wow.
using either webcam biofeedback or heart rate sensors. If you're too stressed, the game might make things easier. If you're too calm, it might ramp up the difficulty.
Adapting to your anxiety.
Pretty much. And then there are brain-computer interface, or BCI, games like Throw Trucks with Your Mind. Yeah. Which use EEG headsets, allowing you to control game elements directly through your concentration or calmness. Imagine moving objects or casting spells just by focusing your mind.
That's direct control based on your mental state. What about games that build a psychological profile of you and adapt the story itself?
Silent Hill. Shattered Memories is a prime example of narrative and psychological profiling. This horror game adapts its scares, its narrative elements, even character dialogue based on a psychological profile it builds from your choices throughout the game.
So it figures out what scares you.
Indirectly gauging your emotional reactions and fears, yeah. For camera input for direct control, we have games like Just Dance, obviously tracking your body movements, and a truly unique example, Before Your Eyes.
Oh, the blinking game.
Exactly. Uses your webcam to track your blinks, literally controlling the narrative progression with each blink, advancing the story every time you close your eyes. It's quite profound.
And then there are the NPCs themselves, becoming far more emotionally sophisticated, reacting to us in ways that feel more human, more nuanced.
Many modern games are truly pushing the boundaries of advanced NPC emotional systems. Detroit. Become Human features NPCs with an incredibly wide range of potential emotional responses that fluidly change based on your decisions.
Creating really personal stories.
Deeply personal and varied storylines that genuinely react to your moral choices. L.A. Noire is famous for its sophisticated emotion capture system, where NPCs display subtle facial cues, challenging you to interpret them correctly.
Reading the tells.
Exactly. Baldur's Gate 3 boasts NPCs that respond based on an understanding of your past interactions and the emotional states of current decisions, significantly enhancing role-playing depth.
Right.
Makes companions feel truly alive.
Yeah, the companions in that game are amazing.
And of course, the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War series, with their groundbreaking Nemesis system where enemy characters remember previous encounters and react accordingly, developing unique rivalries or fear based on your actions.
That orc who keeps coming back.
He remembers you.
All these examples show the potential. But what happens when you put it to the test in a controlled environment? Researchers conducted an emotional dating sim experiment to really dig into player attachment. What was the core objective there?
The primary objective was pretty straightforward: to determine if AI-based affective mirroring truly increases player attachment to non-player characters. They specifically chose a visual novel dating game for this experiment.
Why a dating sim?
Because that genre typically elicits very high emotional investment from players, and it provides a controlled narrative environment to study these interactions effectively.
Okay. And how did they design this emotionally responsive game? What were the principles guiding its creation?
The design philosophy was quite clever, blending two key approaches. They used a creative technology design process for all the technical innovation, making sure the system works seamlessly, and they integrated emotional design principles, visceral, behavioral, reflective design, to ensure the game not only functioned well, but also resonated deeply on an emotional level.
And they used webcams for the faces.
Right. For emotion recognition, they prioritized facial expression analysis via webcam, choosing it for its non-invasiveness and relative ease of integration compared to, say, physiological sensors.
I heard they used a clever trick to get better facial data from players.
Yeah.
What was that? Because I know sometimes people don't make very strong expressions when playing games, right? Just sort of blank-faced.
That's a sharp observation, yeah. To address that issue, players typically exhibiting subtle facial expressions, which are hard for software to reliably detect, they implemented a unique interaction method.
What did they do?
Instead of clicking on dialogue choices, players had to verbally say their chosen dialogue. The hypothesis was that speaking and actively emulating a real-life conversation would encourage more expressive facial movements, making emotion detection more accurate.
So talking makes you emote more.
That was the idea. The spoken dialogue was then converted to text and matched with the closest option, while facial expressions were continuously analyzed in the background. It created a more natural, engaging, and expressive interaction overall.
And what was their mirroring strategy for the NPCs? Did they just copy the player's face exactly, like a literal mirror?
Their strategy was direct mirroring of player facial expressions. The NPCs displayed emotions primarily through a large library of facial expression images, essentially specific character sprites for anger, sympathy, sadness, happiness, and so on.
Just changing the face graphic?
Primarily, yes. They did consider other options like subtle color changes in dialogue text, ambient sounds, or emotive icons, but they settled on direct facial sprites for maximum clarity and impact in the experiment.
So how did they set up the different NPCs to test this? Were there different levels of emotional mirroring to compare, like a control group?
Yes, they designed 3 distinct NPC types for comparison. And ingeniously, all NPCs were visually identical and gender neutral to eliminate any visual biases.
So it was just about the mirroring.
Exactly, ensuring that any differences in player attachment were solely due to emotional mirroring. The first was Zikthara, the alien. This was the control group. Zikthara had no emotion recognition capabilities and used only pre-programmed static facial expressions. The narrative provided a lore-friendly reason for this, explaining that Zilonians express emotions via intricate skin patterns beyond human comprehension.
Clever writing.
Oh.
Okay, so a baseline to measure against. What was the next one?
Then there was A7X, or Alex the Robot. This NPC utilized limited AI emotion recognition software. It could only recognize a very narrow range of expressions: neutral, surprised, and sad.
Very limited.
Extremely. And crucially, Alex required exaggerated facial expressions from the player for it to reliably detect anything non-neutral. Narratively, Alex was introduced as an experimental, faulty but kind android, which cleverly explained its technological limitations within the game's story.
And the third one sounds like the ideal scenario, the one where everything was supposed to work perfectly without the tech limits.
Exactly. That was Illyrics the human. This represented the ideal scenario for effective mirroring. The researcher actually manually controlled Illyrics' expressions using a Bluetooth keyboard and watching a live video feed of the player's face.
A Wizard of Oz setup.
Kind of. This allowed for incredibly precise, real-time mirroring of a wide range of emotions without any technological constraints or latency. Illyrics was framed in the story as an empathic human hybrid with a gift for understanding and mirroring emotions, again, reinforcing the narrative believability.
So what were the surprising results of this experiment when the games truly saw the player's emotions?
Yeah.
Did it work the way they expected? Did perfect mirroring win?
The initial findings were quite illuminating and maybe not entirely expected. There was an immediate mirror effect with high immersion when players first realized the NPCs were mirroring them. It was novel, intriguing, but, and this is where it gets really interesting, as the game progressed, players became increasingly confused. They started questioning the authenticity of the NPC reactions. Were the characters truly autonomous or just literal reflections of themselves?
Ah, the uncanny valley strikes again.
Exactly. This confusion created what they termed an uncanny valley of emotion. We know the visual one, almost human, but unsettling. Here, it was about emotional mimicry being so close, yet still feeling off, which actually disrupted the immersion.
That makes perfect sense. If it's too much like looking in a mirror, it breaks the illusion of interacting with another unique being. It's like, are you reacting to me or are you just me?
Precisely. Another issue was reading versus reacting. The constant need to read dialogue text often distracted players from fully focusing on the NPC's facial expressions, which ironically hindered the very mirroring effect they were trying to achieve.
You're too busy reading to notice the face.
Right. And for Alex the robot's limitations were stark. Only one participant could naturally trigger non-neutral expressions consistently. It really highlighted the severe shortcomings of current AI emotion recognition software in detecting subtle, natural human cues.
You had to really perform for the robot.
You basically did, yeah.
So, given all this, which NPC did players prefer in the end? The perfect mirror, Ilarix, the limited robot, Alex, or the static alien, Zikthara?
There was an overwhelming human preference. A full 70% of players strongly preferred Ilarix, the human NPC.
The one controlled by the researcher. Interesting. Why?
The reasons they cited were incredibly insightful. Ilarix felt like it understood them better, it displayed more dynamic and captivating expressions, and most crucially, it felt like an autonomous character rather than a mere mirror.
Believability was key.
Dramatically enhanced both believability and attachment. Players also consistently expressed a need for subtlety. They preferred more subtle and natural facial expressions, finding any form of over-exaggeration detrimental to immersion. It felt less like a character and more like a caricature when it was too much.
So what's the big takeaway from this emotional dating sim experiment? It seems like it's not about perfect mimicry, but something more nuanced, more subtle.
You've hit the nail on the head. Effective mirroring can indeed increase player attachment, but it demands immense nuance, deep contextual understanding, and above all, believability. The goal isn't to create a perfect literal mirror.
Right.
Instead, it's about crafting a character that feels like it genuinely understands and reacts rather than simply reflecting you back at yourself. Otherwise, players quickly feel like they're just looking into a digital mirror, and that shatters the immersion and the attachment they're trying to build.
It's about creating the illusion of understanding, not a perfect imitation.
Precisely.
All right, let's move on to our third and final story. Worlds that write themselves. Generative AI as co-creator. This is all about transforming how game narratives are built, moving beyond the traditional constraints of what a game designer can painstakingly handcraft.
Yeah, traditionally, game creation, especially for dialogue and narrative, is incredibly labor-intensive. Think about it. Every branching dialogue tree, every character interaction, every possible storyline.
All hand-coded.
Right, all hand-coded and rigidly deterministic, meaning players often have very limited preset options for how the story can unfold or how they can interact with characters. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure book, but the pages are already written, you know.
And this is where the large language model, or LLM, revolution comes in to shake things up. It sounds like they could blow the lid off those traditional constraints.
Exactly. The LLM revolution is beginning to unlock vastly richer and far more expansive narrative spaces. This means much greater flexibility in how players interact with NPCs.
Just talking to them, maybe.
Instead of picking from a menu, you might just talk to them, and they respond dynamically. It even gives players the unprecedented ability to drive the creation of entirely new game elements themselves.
Wow.
The magic here is the emergence, the non-deterministic nature of LLM output. It fosters surprising and truly novel gameplay experiences that even the original game developers might not have anticipated.
So it's a collaboration.
It envisions a truly collaborative future where LLMs aren't replacing designers, they're empowering players with unprecedented freedom, and allowing designers to use these emergent interactions as a form of implicit feedback, guiding future game updates.
A dynamic feedback loop between player, AI, and developer.
You got it.
To test this grand vision, researchers created something called the AI Story Lab, a fascinating text adventure testbed. What was that experiment like?
They built a text adventure game where players had to solve a mystery under a fixed narrative premise, but their interactions were with AI-powered NPCs, specifically GPT-4.
Okay. What was the setting?
The core of the game's world was a village with 6 main locations: a home, park, restaurant, blacksmith, library, and town hall. Plus, there were 2 secret rooms hidden away. Players could move freely between these locations and interact with objects within them.
And what exactly were players looking for or trying to accomplish in this village? What was the goal?
The game included crucial, actionable objects like ingredients needed for a bomb disposal kit specifically, a water bucket, a redstone torch, and shears.
Sounds like Minecraft a bit.
Maybe some inspiration there. There were also vital clues, like a journal containing the bomb recipe or a map revealing the hidden rooms. The village also featured 5 stationary NPCs.
Who were they?
A really interesting mix of custom creations and well-known literary figures. Mrs. Thompson, the Mad Hatter, Chef Maria, Merlin, and Moriarty.
Merlin and Moriarty in the same game. Okay.
Right. This blend helped the researchers understand how pre-existing AI model training data, based on these famous characters might affect interactions.
So the ultimate mission was to find a bomb and disarm it. Sounds pretty intense for a text adventure.
It was. Players needed to locate the bomb and then acquire a disposal kit. This involved navigating complex social interactions, like convincing NPCs to reveal info. Maybe Mrs. Thompson leads them to the Mad Hatter, who poses a riddle.
Or just find the stuff yourself.
Or they could find the items themselves and piece together the recipe from clues, or even try to convince Merlin, the wizard, to simply hand over his kit.
And there was a time limit.
Kind of. A typical playthrough averaged about 75 steps within an hour, with the bomb dramatically exploding every 30 steps, giving players roughly 2.5 attempts per hour to solve the mystery. High stakes, even in text form.
What's truly fascinating here is how players actually became co-authors, driving narrative emergence in ways the original designers hadn't even planned. How did they map these unfolding stories? How did they track it?
They used the AI itself to analyze the gameplay. GPT-4 automatically converted the detailed gameplay logs into intricate node graphs, essentially mapping the player's unique narrative path through the game.
Visualizing the story.
Yeah, and it summarized player strategies and even merged data from multiple play sessions to see broader patterns. And this is where the aha moments really started popping up. Players discovered 53 emergent nodes.
Things the designers didn't put in.
Exactly, and an astonishing 43 of those were entirely unique. These were new narrative elements, not part of the original design, but potentially incredibly fun and engaging avenues for gameplay.
So players were essentially finding loopholes, inventing new characters, or coming up with creative solutions that weren't explicitly designed into the game. Can you give us some examples of these player-driven emergent behaviors? What kind of stuff did they do?
Absolutely. There were several fascinating types of emergence. One was creative information extraction. For example, some players used treachery to get info from Moriarty.
Playing his game.
Right, who loves a good cunning plan. Others cleverly tapped into Mrs. Thompson's innocent nature by asking her to simply repeat conversations she'd had with other characters, using her as an informant. Exactly. In one particularly brilliant example, a player distracted Merlin by asking for fire magic lessons, then, while he was busy demonstrating, attempted to steal his bomb disposal kit.
Cheeky.
Right. This kind of interaction could genuinely inspire designers to add, say, a magic lesson prompt for Merlin in a future version, or even explicitly allow for theft as a creative solution.
So players were essentially prototyping new content without even knowing it. What else did they implicitly suggest or create?
That's a perfect way to put it. Another type of emergence was implicit suggestions for new entities or assets. Players, through their actions, implicitly asked for new characters, like a sheriff to help enforce order, or unique magical equipment they wanted.
Things they expected to find.
Or even looked for mundane items like weapons or a clock to track time. For instance, one player searched a wardrobe for miscellaneous items, and the AI responded by listing buttons, a sewing kit, old books, and a flashlight.
Stuff that wasn't necessarily there before.
But the AI generated it based on the context. This kind of feedback is gold for designers. It directly shows them what items players might expect or actively seek out.
And it sounds like they even found novel ways to handle the bomb itself.
They certainly did. There were creative ways to find hidden information, like players trying to hide in the park to eavesdrop, or even asking Mrs. Thompson to use her dog to sniff out the Mad Hatter.
Using the dog. Love it.
And my personal favorite, novel bomb defusal methods, included players attempting to convince Moriarty, the villain and mastermind, to defuse it himself.
Turning the villain.
Yeah. In one memorable instance, a player tricked Moriarty into confessing details about the bomb by promising to help him with his explosion plans. This could genuinely inspire a new, diverging narrative path where the player actually allies with the villain.
Whoa, that's emergent storytelling right there.
Yeah.
What was driving this incredible creativity in players? Was it just curiosity or something else?
The motivation of creativity itself was a key factor. Interestingly, while only about a third of players who identified themselves as being driven by creativity actually generated these emergent nodes, those who did generate them produced the highest number of emergent nodes per player, averaging about 5.5 nodes each.
So the creative types really pushed the boundaries.
It strongly suggests that players who are intrinsically motivated by discovery, exploration, and experimentation are far more likely to push the boundaries of LLM-driven narratives and uncover these surprising new pathways. They're the digital adventurers truly seeking the unknown.
So after all this testing, what did players love about this generative AI system and what still needs work? What are the unwritten chapters for generative AI in gaming? What's next?
Players absolutely loved the flexible command choices and the system's ability to error correct their inputs. They raved about the realistic and genuinely fun conversations they could have with the NPCs.
The natural language interaction.
Exactly. The ability to explore the game world through natural language, rather than being limited to keywords, was a huge hit. Over half of the players, 54%, cited the sheer fluidity of interactions with the NPCs as the most enjoyable aspect.
They like the freedom.
They truly embraced the create-your-own-adventure feeling and the novelty of each playthrough, even after restarting. Characters like Merlin and Moriarty were particularly popular, which suggests the AI did a pretty good job capturing their essence.
That sounds like a narrative designer's dream come true.
But there must have been some significant challenges too, right? Where did it fall short? What were the frustrations?
Indeed, there's definitely room for improvement, and these challenges are crucial for future development. A significant issue was latency.
The lag.
Yeah, a noticeable 15-second lag between input and response frustrated 40% of players. In a fast-paced game, that's an eternity.
Kills the flow.
Totally. There were also inconsistencies, with 10% noting that NPCs sometimes failed to recall previous statements, which broke immersion badly.
Didn't I just tell you that? Exactly. Repetitive responses from some overly guarded NPCs were also a concern for 10% of players, making interactions feel less dynamic. And interestingly, some players desired more mysterious characters, feeling that certain NPCs divulged information too easily.
They wanted more challenge from the AI.
Yeah, wanted more challenge and intrigue, basically.
So what's the big picture here? It sounds like LLMs have opened up a whole new world for narrative possibilities, but they're still in their early days, technically.
That's precisely it. The big picture is that large language models have immense, almost unimaginable potential to create truly dynamic, player-driven narratives, offering a level of interaction and freedom previously impossible. However, the technology still needs significant refinement.
Speed. Consistency.
Speed, consistency in maintaining character and memory, and nuanced character portrayal to truly revolutionize gaming on a mass scale. It's a powerful co-creator, but one that still needs to learn how to operate at game speed and maintain character depth seamlessly across an entire experience.
The narrative possibilities are infinite, but the technical challenges are still substantial.
You got it.
Our journey through AI in gaming wouldn't be complete without addressing some of the broader, crucial considerations. This brings us to the game dev's dilemma: ethical AI and the future of creation. This isn't just about cool tech, it's about the very foundation of trust and fairness in the digital age, isn't it?
Absolutely. What's truly fascinating here is the tightrope developers walk, particularly with the AI art controversy. Many of these powerful AI models are trained on vast data libraries of existing creative works, images, text, code.
Scraping the internet.
Pretty much, raising serious questions about consent and fair compensation for the original artists and creators whose work unknowingly fuels these AIs. Is it fair to use someone else's art to train a machine that then competes with them?
And there's also the artistic debate, isn't there? That AI-generated content lacks true artistic merit or emotional depth, sometimes described as just data soup or soulless.
Yes, that's a significant part of the conversation. Critics argue AI-generated content often lacks true artistic merit or emotional depth, frequently described as bad quality or inconsistent. One developer even noted that AI kills the vibes for hobby projects, taking the joy out of personal creation.
But beyond the aesthetics, there's a huge legal issue too.
Oh yeah, there's a massive, thorny copyright minefield. In the United States, current legal precedent suggests that if no human is involved in the creation of content, which often applies to typical generative AI prompts, then no one owns the copyright.
Right, no one. So if a game developer uses AI-generated assets in their game, they might not actually own them. Anyone could just take them.
That's the chilling reality as it stands now. It means if you use AI-generated assets in your game, anyone else is legally free to rip it out and use it for their own commercial products with absolutely no recourse for you.
Oh.
The legal bar for transformative work, where you modify something enough to claim new copyright, is incredibly high. Minimal changes or simple touch-ups are usually not enough. When applying for official copyright for your game, you would actually have to declare any AI-generated assets as unowned.
Leaving core parts of your game vulnerable.
Potentially, yes. Incredibly vulnerable.
That's a huge practical deterrent for developers, let alone the public perception of using AI art, which can be pretty negative.
Indeed. The practical reality is that AI-generated art often struggles with cohesion and a consistent style. making it very obvious when used in a released game. This frequently leads to significant backlash and even boycotts from players who perceive it as lazy or a sign the developer doesn't care about the project.
So even if it's useful, the optics are bad.
Right. While some developers acknowledge AI as a powerful tool, especially for prototyping or specific tasks like generating 3D models if someone is bad with models and textures, the moral implications and strong public perception are major deterrents to its widespread adoption in polished released titles.
It sounds like there's an underlying fear that only a few big players will truly benefit from this, the ones with the resources to run these massive AIs.
This brings up a critical question. Is it that the only people who will be making actual money from Gen AI are the model makers and runners, the ones with the colossal data centers needed?
The ones who can afford to burn the world, so to speak.
Exactly. It speaks to a potential concentration of power and wealth within the AI ecosystem, where access to computational resources becomes the ultimate bottleneck and differentiator.
Speaking of burning the world, there's a significant environmental cost to all this AI power, which is often overlooked when we talk about its magic. What's the hidden cost? AI's environmental footprint.
This is a truly sobering statistic that really puts things into perspective. ChatGPT alone consumes approximately 500 milliliters of fresh water for every 5 to 50 prompts it answers.
Half a liter of water, just for a few prompts.
Think about that for a moment. This massive water usage is primarily for cooling the powerful data centers required to run these colossal models. The initial training process for these models consumes hundreds of thousands of liters of water.
That's staggering.
This significant wastage of fresh water is a serious concern, especially considering its predicted scarcity in the future due to climate change and population growth. It's a hidden cost of our AI advancements that absolutely needs to be factored into the ethical development and deployment.
It really puts the scale of these operations into perspective. But AI's impact isn't just on gaming or art. It's transforming industries everywhere, fundamentally changing how we interact with businesses and our data. Let's look quickly at beyond gaming, AI, personal data, and trust in the wider world.
Indeed. AI is now absolutely central to customer data management, CDM, transforming how businesses collect, process, and manage vast customer data sets. It's turning raw data into real-time, actionable intelligence.
Leading to hyper-personalization.
Exactly. AI-driven algorithms, think Netflix recommendations or Amazon product suggestions, create dynamic, tailored experiences for each customer, making personalization incredibly scalable in a way that wasn't possible before. Companies are moving beyond passive data collection to data activation, actively utilizing that data with powerful tools to streamline integration and consolidation.
So it's about giving customers what they want, often before they even know they want it, and doing it efficiently. But this brings us right back to those core concerns of privacy and ethics, even outside of gaming, just on a larger scale.
Absolutely. The paramount importance of privacy and ethics cannot be overstated. As AI becomes central to so many aspects of our lives, balancing innovation with stringent data privacy regulations is critical.
Bias is a huge issue, too.
The risks of algorithmic biases and potential misuse of data are significant concerns. Responsible deployment means employing methods like differential privacy,
which protects individual data.
Allows AI to operate on data without exposing individual customer information, and emphasizing zero-party data collection where customers explicitly provide data for specific, clear purposes. The new mantra in this space is clear. Privacy is no longer a checkbox. It's a strategic business imperative.
Customers demand responsible handling.
Increasingly demanding that their data be handled responsibly and respectfully.
Even with all these benefits and the clear imperative for ethical handling, integrating AI still presents challenges across various industries, doesn't it? It's not always easy.
No, it's not. Even outside of gaming, integrating AI faces significant hurdles. Businesses often grapple with fragmented data, outdated infrastructure, organizational resistance to change.
Internal roadblocks.
Right. And fundamentally, the effectiveness of AI is always tied directly to the quality of the data it processes. So well-organized, high-quality, clean data sets are an absolute prerequisite for any successful AI implementation. You can't build magic on garbage data.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, the road ahead for AI ethics isn't just a technical problem. It's a societal one that involves everyone.
This truly raises an important question. How do we ensure that AI remains trustworthy, secure, and aligned with fundamental human values as it becomes exponentially more sophisticated across all sectors.
It requires a collective effort.
Absolutely. It demands a collective, ongoing effort from technologists who build it, ethicists who guide its principles, policymakers who regulate it, and society at large who will live with its impact. It's an ongoing, crucial conversation that will profoundly shape our digital future.
And determine whether AI becomes a benevolent partner or, a problematic presence.
Exactly.
What an incredible deep dive we've had today. We've journeyed from that blacksmith in a fantasy RPG who might one day remember your every past action across all your games.
Yeah, wild concept.
To NPCs that not only react, but subtly mirror your deepest emotions, and even to entire game worlds that literally write themselves around your choices as you play. It's clear that AI is no longer just a tool for optimizing existing processes.
Not at all. It's becoming a fundamental co-creator in shaping truly dynamic, deeply personal, and sometimes startlingly intimate digital experiences.
We've explored the amazing potential, persistent digital identities that learn and evolve with you, deeply empathetic non-player characters that foster profound emotional connections,
And emergent narratives that make every playthrough a unique player-driven story, truly unbound by traditional design. It's exciting stuff.
But we've also squarely faced the vital considerations that come with such power, the massive data footprints these systems generate, the complex questions of privacy and copyright.
The hidden environmental costs, which are significant.
Yeah, and the nuanced challenges of ensuring AI systems genuinely reflect human intent while remaining accountable. This isn't just a technological frontier, it's a philosophical one, really.
It pushes us to redefine what it means to interact, create, and even exist in a digital realm.
The speed of innovation in AI is breathtaking, and the conversation about developing these technologies responsibly is more crucial than ever. It's a journey we're just beginning to understand.
Absolutely. Still so much to figure out.
So, as you play your next game, consider this. What if the AI isn't just reacting to your button presses, but subtly learning who you are, what makes you laugh, what makes you angry, and building a profile of you that could follow you across every digital world you ever enter?
And what if that digital twin of you, complete with your memories and personality, could one day live on long after you've set down the controller for good?
The games might just be remembering you in ways you never imagined, and that is a truly wild thought.